Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Stopping distance. Actually, the stopping distance, basically in an emergency, a driver must bring their vehicle to a stop in the shortest distance possible. So stopping distance is the sum of thinking distance plus braking distance. First of all, let us understand what is thinking distance. Thinking distance is the distance a vehicle travels in the time it takes for a driver to apply the brakes after realizing they need to stop. Then here it comes braking distance. Braking distance is the distance a vehicle travels in the time after the driver has applied the brakes. Now let us understand this with the help of an example. Well, let us see that there is a car which is at A. It is coming with a certain velocity, certain speed. It is when it reaches at A. The A point is almost 600 meters from the traffic signals. When he reaches at A, the driver sees that a a signal has gone red. Now, here he realizes that he has to stop somewhere before the traffic signals. So now he has not applied the brake. Still, he has not pressed the brake pedal. So he is just thinking that he has to stop somewhere near that before the traffic signal. He is continue traveling. He is continue moving continuously. He is moving. When he reaches at B, he presses the brake. He applies the brake. Now from A till B, he was thinking to stop at somewhere before the signal. But here he has not applied the brake. The distance traveled from A to B, he was thinking to apply the brake because he has to stop somewhere near before the signal. So this distance which he has traveled from A to B, suppose this distance is 400 meters. So this distance is called the thinking distance. Now when he reaches at B, which the B point where he has applied the brake. Now, if he has applied the brake, now he is going to stop, his speed is going to decrease, and finally he reaches at point C. At point C, he stops. Suppose he has covered the distance of 150 meters. So this distance, which he has covered after the application of the brake, and when he stops at C. So this distance, applying the brake and then stopping, this distance is called the braking distance, because here the brakes are applied and finally he is getting stopped. So this distance is called braking distance. Now here he started thinking to stop. Here he applies the brake. So this distance, thinking distance, after application of the brake, he stops here. So this is the braking distance. So the sum of thinking distance and the braking distance basically is the stopping distance. So stopping distance is equal to thinking distance plus braking distance. Thinking distance was 400 meters, and here I have taken the braking distance 150 meters. So the total is 550 meters. 550 meters will be his stopping distance basically. Now this thinking distance and the stopping distance basically are depending upon certain factors. Here I have given certain factors, and this, due to these certain factors, this thinking distance may vary driver to driver or certain other conditions. For example, here I have given you that the reaction time. Sometimes the driver is not very much responsive, so his reaction time may be increased. So when he is taking more time to think to apply the brake, it means more distance may be covered. So reaction time vary from person to person, but are typically 0.2 second to 0.9 second. A driver's reaction time can affected by tiredness, or he may be taking drugs or alcohols or distraction sometimes, or longer reaction time basically increases the thinking distance when stopping from a very speed. Actually, if the driver is coming driving with a very high speed, obviously that high speed will also affect his thinking distance. It means that he has to take longer reaction time, which increases the thinking distance when stopping from a given speed. There are different ways to measure reaction time. One simple method involves dropping a ruler between someone's open thumb and forefinger. The higher the reaction time needed to grab the falling ruler, the further the ruler falls before being stopped. The ruler can be adjusted to measure in seconds rather than in millimeters. So this is just an example that if you want to measure your reaction time. This is also very important that the faster a vehicle travels, the greater the braking force needed to stop it in a certain distance. A greater braking force produces a greater deceleration. Large deceleration may cause the brakes to overheat, and the driver may also lose control of the vehicle. So it means there are certain other factors which may affect the braking distance also. If the conditions of the brakes are not very good, even then the braking distance can be increased. As I told you that the thinking distance was affected by certain factors like tiredness or the attention of the driver, or he may be taking drugs, etc. Now, the braking distance basically it affects like poor road conditions and weather conditions such as gravel or wet or icy road, less friction between tires and the road. These are maybe there are certain factors. In the same way, the poor vehicle condition, the poor vehicle condition means such as worn brakes or worn tires, less friction between brakes and wheels, etc. These may also be the factors which may affect the braking distance. Obviously, if the tires are worn out or the brakes are not very good, obviously the car will take more will cover more distance before stopping. And then if the vehicle is overloaded, like more mass in the vehicle, then like extra passengers for example are sitting in the vehicle, then braking friction has to work for a greater distance to remove the large kinetic energy. So these are the basic factors which may affect the braking distance. So here you can understand that how the uh, stopping distance is affected by the thinking distance and the braking distance.